what do you guys get out of All-Star Weekend business-wise?
That's a great way to reconnect with friends and business associates. And for the most part, when you're in the league, the other owners are your competitors. They want to beat your brains out. And then you come to an owners meeting and a tech conference, and you're really talking about shared goals and things that you can do together. And so great networking effect, and you learn a lot. I give the NBA a lot of credit. This tech conference has become like the TED conferences. The quality of the speakers, the quality of the people that they're bringing in has been superb.
It's amazing the collection of people and talent that the NBA attracts, not only from the NBA team ownership groups, but all of the league partners. I mean, you get some of the major Silicon Valley players and big tech brands that everyone is familiar with. To have everyone concentrated in one place for one weekend is just sort of an unbeatable experience.
Yeah, I think it's hard to convey what All-Star Weekend is like just from a societal as well as a business standpoint. I mean, Super Bowl is close, but it's, I don't know, it's more of a party, it seems like.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl is more about the sponsors, and I think the NBA All-Star event is more about the fans. And there's a connective celebration between the fans and the players. And the players, it really matters to them. In some other leagues, all-star games are kind of looked at as a necessary evil. And when players are made...
I'll cite the Pro Bowl, okay?
Exactly. Our players really want to be all-stars. When they're not picked for the all-star game, they're hurt. They want to know, what do I have to do to get that recognition? And I think because of that, the elevation of the event and the participation levels and the enthusiasm is quite high.
There was some talk this morning about direct connections with fans, more direct connections with fans. I'm struck by that and the parallel with DraftKings, which you're an early investor and a large investor in, and the acceptance of gambling in ways that weren't really imaginable, I think, 20 or 30 years ago by the major leagues. Well, what are the major sports leagues? What do you think that is all about?
Well, I think that indoor sports are ascendant. NHL, NBA, that's why we just bought some AFL, Arena Football League teams, because you can track and monitor very crisply and clearly because of the contained nature of the arena. And the more we become a big data company, the more attractive we'll be to Gen Z, to millennials, to sophisticated people who care about Wall Street. And we want to be big data companies, distribution of that data and content. And so being able to go direct to the consumer, I mean, we look like SaaS companies now. You look at a sports team, sure, you look, it's why Steve Ballmer, I believe, paid $2 billion for the Clippers. I think he looked and saw that just like a big software company, we've got 20-year deals with our sponsors that have built-in 3.5% increases. We have suites that are on 5-year contracts. We have annual contracts, season tickets that we renew at 95%. And at our heart, we're a software big data company and a commerce company because we know who our customers are. We track their behavior, yeah. And we know, they're buying $300 jerseys, they're taking Uber to the game. When we win, they go to this bar. And so to get...
When they lose, they go to 3 bars.
But we talk about in the media business, the software business, engagement, usability. For us to be able to get a community like Washington, D.C., a big super city, and get a 5 rating on television and 20,000 people, 200 nights a year for all of our events coming in, and to get to know how much time, effort they spend to go to the game, that becomes like a very, very valuable business model.
Accessibility is pretty key to us, right? So we like to pride ourselves on being a multi-platform company. You can watch our games on cable, or you can download our new over-the-top service, Monumental Sports Network, and have more touch points to our teams at lower cost,
economic price points. And so is the sort of FanDuel DraftKings experience part of that?
I believe that sports is the great convener, and you sit behind a screen and you're watching the game, and now you're interacting. And the first application was you're communicating, you're talking to your friends, you're in a community, and now you're starting to have real interest in the outcome of the games and the plays, and that's fantasy. It's daily fantasy is what really took off. But the next big growth area for media content and team owners will be gambling. And it's just a matter of time. We see what's happened in Europe. We've made a big investment in a company called Sport Radar. Sport Radar.
What is that?
Sport Radar started life as a way to do integrity assurance to make sure that betting, gaming, the odds were level playing field, and it connected the casinos, the gamblers, and the leagues in Europe and then in China.
Because in Nevada, you can't have the sports books talk to the other sports books. It's part of the way the law is written.
That's right, but makes no sense. And the whole way the laws are constructed.
Well, initially that was meant to fight corruption, right?
Yeah,
and give gamblers a shot.
But think of this: in Northern Virginia, you cannot play fantasy games, you can't smoke marijuana, and you can gamble. There's casinos in Virginia. In Washington, D.C., you can't gamble, you can't play fantasy games, but you can smoke marijuana and you can grow it. And then in Maryland, you can gamble like crazy. This brand new MGM casino.
One of the biggest resorts in their portfolio now.
You can't play fantasy games, but you can gamble in the casino, and you can't smoke marijuana.
And you can bet that it's all DC license plates.
Well, I wonder what if the Raiders go to Las Vegas, what that will also mean just in terms of
we
changing
just had
the
that
minds
in the
of leagues.
NHL. We brought a team into to Vegas, and the community itself, the fans will support it. Then you have all of the people that are coming to visit, but you have to be very, very careful on the integrity of the game. And so the sport book, will not be commensurate, if you will, right there, because you don't want anything untoward or anything that would touch on a fan's notion that the outcome of the game is pure.
So, all right, another question. Given the success of the league right now, even the D League, now it's soon to be called the G League, right? You've got all the team values going up and looking for new revenue sources. I can't think of a single reason why there isn't room for at least one expansion team.
Well, right now, an expansion team would cut into the media revenues. And I was chairman of the NBA Media Committee, and we negotiated a very, very sizable deal. Yeah. And it might even have been undervalued as you look. Today, the big convener...
That's what sellers always say, but yes.
Well, but the big ratings driver, the big value creator for cable is sports, where really the only programming that people need to come to programmatically, and advertisers count on it. But
you're making the case for another team still, that could happen in one more place.
But if you brought in another team, the price of that team would have to be over $1 billion, I would say, because they would now get cut in to a big chunk. They'd get a 31st piece of a big contract. And so the game, I believe, has never been more popular. I think it is a global sport. The joy and the beauty of the game. Give me a pair of sneakers, give me one basketball, give me a hoop, and it's a non-denominational game.
That's the great thing about basketball. That was the thing what Slam was about.
Yes, you founded Slam Magazine. You caught that essence. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and that's all we did. We lived, ate, slept playing basketball. And there's such a beauty about the game, and now these athletes are superhuman. My Washington Wizards are playing really great basketball. The only game we've lost of late was to Cleveland on national TV. And LeBron James hit a shot to tie the game at the buzzer.
Game of the year. Everyone's saying that's the game of the year.
And it was superhuman. Now, I hated it in the moment, but I appreciate the skill, the intelligence, the one-of-a-kind, once-in-a-lifetime kind of moment that was. And that's why people come to NBA games. You could see something that you'll talk about for a long, long time. And you don't get that with other entertainment. You don't go to a restaurant and drive home and say, boy, that meal,
that was the best French fry I've ever had.
There's lifetime memories there.
Yeah.